I can totally understand the frustration of people literally trying to get to work, travelling on public transport, because that's the sort of thing you're supposed to do if you're trying to save the planet, not being allowed to go anywhere because some idiot is on the roof telling everybody that they want you to go back to the blimmin' dark ages and have no cars, no fuel, no electricity, no nothing, because the planet's going to die. I have no sympathy for these protesters at all. And I wouldn't say that I would have joined in that scrum, but it would have been very hard not to.
Do you know what? It makes me laugh. They totally picked the wrong tube station, didn't they? Because if they'd gone somewhere like, you know, I don't know, Fulham or Hampstead, it'd be, excuse me, this is terribly inconvenient. I'm trying to get to work. Canning Town, it's like, oh, right, get off that tube, you know?
Well, if it had been in somewhere like Hampstead, all the people at the station would have gone, oh, dear, we'll have to take the Range Rover in, won't we?
Yeah.
But Canning Town, they haven't got a choice.
But the problem is I do think they're fighting for something that is worth fighting for. I don't think the way that they're going about it is the right way. I actually think you're right. At the end of the day, they're going to make the environmental problem worse if everyone has to get off the tube and go and get in their cars. But
or a taxi,
we are
or
sitting
anything
here
that
talking about them. We are doing exactly what that protest or
aren't we talking about it for the wrong reasons, though?
But we're still talking about it, and they're getting the coverage that they obviously desired from taking those actions. And I think that do they feel that they have to go to those extremes to get coverage?
But you know that already we have, as a country, before all of this, have declared we're the first major economy to say, put it into legislation that we will have, you know, zero emissions by 2050. So, you know, the UK are way ahead of so many other countries globally.
And they still say they're not doing enough. Well, what?
They want it by 2025.
They want it by 2025.
I mean, I love this thing in the Times today. The Times offices, there was a protester sitting outside the Times offices saying that, from Extinction Rebellion, saying he wanted the newspapers to report properly on climate change. When asked for evidence that it was not doing so, he said, I don't know, I don't read the papers.
Well, there you have it.
So if that's the level of debate that we're dealing with,
they've just exposed themselves, haven't they? Basically, they want to cause disruption. They don't really... I would challenge them. You don't really care about the planet at all.
I don't think that they're all like that. I think there is a group of people who really care about the environment and really want to make change.
But I care about it.
Is there's this big momentum of people who are just going, all right, we'll join in with that. And there's no real leader of that group. There's no spokesperson. So we're just seeing a whole mob mentality rather than...
I agree with that. And if you actually then think also with, you know, we've got so many stabbings in the city and this, that and the other, all those police resources that could be, you know, dealing with crime that's blighting this city and other cities around the country is being channeled into this. Plus, you know, police time, court costs, court time. Yeah, I just think, you know, after 10 days, you know, OK, you've made your point, we've talked about it, but after 10 days, there has to be a point where we go, OK, enough already. You know, you've got nurses and all sorts of people who can't get to work.
That's the thing. Exactly. That's the thing they're into. And I think you're right. I don't have sympathy for any kind of a protest that causes that kind of disruption this morning at all. But I do think there is an issue to be discussed without a doubt, and they're making their point heard, I know that. But to stop ordinary people who are working hard to pay bills, that's a very difficult argument then to have.
Who agree with a lot of what they say.
Yeah. Absolutely, that's exactly what it is. A lot of very, very famous, very high-profile people have become involved in this whole debate as well, obviously. And then, of course, off the back of that, a lot of papers and journalists have said, well, you're hypocrites, you actors and all the rest of it, you're getting on your planes and jumbo jets and private jets and flying off to promote new movies and everything else. So there's been over 100 high-profile people have got together and penned this open letter. I'm sure maybe you've seen this in the news. A lot of actors, musicians and comedians. And it says, dear journalists who have called us hypocrites, you're right. We live high-carbon lives and the industries that we are part of have huge carbon footprints. There is, however, a more urgent story that our profiles can draw attention to. Life on Earth is dying. We are living in the midst of the 6th mass extinction. We invite all people with platforms to join us and move beyond fear to amplify the real stories.
Is that petition called the Do As I Say, Not As I Do petition? Because they're basically saying, we have to carry on living like this, but you can do your bit because you're just a nobody. It's like, no, you... Oh, do you know what? That makes me mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. I might have to drag Benedict Cumberbatch off of his stage next time I see him.
What was that phrase you were talking about earlier?
Oh, ego warriors.
Yeah.
There, they've been renamed ego instead of eco, which is exactly what they are. Don't tell me what to do when you're not doing it.
I think their intentions are good. But
no, they're not.
Well, they are. They're trying to raise light on issues that are important. But you're so blooming right. I don't understand how any of us can sit here and say, I don't recycle, but you can, and you can change the world.
No, you have to.
Like, it is ridiculous. I've got a heavy carbon footprint. There are little things that I try and do to make a difference, but I'm not blooming perfect, and I certainly wouldn't lecture to anyone else on how they should live their lives, so I do find it a bit...
There's so much you can do.
I think there are some actors, I think Mark Rylance is quite genuine. I think he does a lot for the, voicing concerns about the environment in other ways, and I think he stood down from a major role because of an affiliation with an oil company, etc., etc. So I have a bit of time for him, but the other ones, preaching to us, and then they take a huge fee to promote a gas-guzzling car or to promote an airline. I mean, come on.
It's endless hypocrisy.
But it's got to stop. It's got to stop. It's kind of like everything, isn't it? Anyone that wants to preach to me, and I'm very happy to listen to everyone, but I need to know you're doing it within the four walls of your little house, and then I can respect it.
The one I listen to without a shadow of a doubt or anything is David Attenborough.
Yeah.